This is about the announcement made yesterday by the Ministry of Tourism of the Government of Sri Lanka regarding the uh, opening of Ratmalana domestic airline, or known as the Colombo International Airport in Ratmalana, for international flights initially to Maldives Island and India from next month. I think what is important is now when we look at these operations of the Colombo International Airport in Ratmalana, the we know that the Maldivian community is spread in the Hivala, the Mount Lavinia, Garcia, Havelock Road, and those areas. So they, of course, will benefit since Colombo International Airport in Ratmalana is adjoining these Colombo suburbs, Colombo South suburbs. So on the other hand, I think during this COVID-19 pandemic, anyway, the Maldivian involvements, especially the students coming to studies here, that was very high. Before the COVID-19 pandemic is now very limited. Because earlier, thousands of Maldivian students used to come to Colombo for higher education, but now I think it's limited. So, under these circumstances, this particular market in Maldives is limited now. Its value. But I think now, if Sri Lanka's Ministry of Tourism is more really concerned, there is much more like group to be served here from Colombo International Airport in Ratmalana. Especially, we know that in South Indian Ocean there is a U.S. Military base in a small island called Diego Garcia. So here the U.S. Armed Forces members from all their four forces, U.S. Marines and the U.S. Army, U.S. Navy, U.S. The Air Force, and this particular base, they are like isolated there for many years, many times until they get opportunity to get out of that place because the restrictions due to their service requirements into that isolated island Diego Garcia in the middle of the Indian Ocean is very difficult for any service member to be, under those circumstances in a small island, in stressful and tension is so high as a human. So I think Sri Lanka's Ministry of Tourism must provide some, leisure activities for them to come to Colombo, particularly through the Colombo International Airport in Ratmalana to Diego Garcia Airbase tourism flights, so that they can come and they can relax here during service breaks and then they can go back. I think similar to the German, I think the German army officers and the French armed forces officers visited Sri Lanka during the COVID-19 pandemic for leisure activities to down south. So similarly, Sri Lanka must offer this service to people who mostly need it. It's not the Maldivians, it's really the US Armed Forces Service personnel in the Diego Garcia Island who need such a service, because humanly being isolated in a small island for so many days under stressful circumstances in such a part of the middle of the ocean in the Indian Ocean is very difficult. I think looking into that from a human point of view, Ministry of Tourism must initiate through the US Embassy to help them to come and spend leisure time here in Sri Lanka, particularly in the down south or Kandy, or since Sri Lanka's geographical climate patterns are so different. Even though Sri Lanka is a small island, it's more economical and more like a good experience to get relieve stress for them. I think without always requesting help from US, even the Pfizer BioNTech or the Moderna vaccines or whatever the vaccines, we can always offer help to them also in whatever ways we can. Rather than always expecting them to come and help us and sort out our problems, why not government initiate like a particular organizations under the Ministry of Tourism to look into these matters, because these cases are more human assistance needed. So if Sri Lanka don't do it, then we have to blame ourselves later for the circumstances, because we can see the USA helping so much and Sri Lanka doesn't reciprocate, because we know that there are so many street people in USA. There is a need to know about Gautama Buddha's teachings, and the US service personnel languishing under tension and stress in Diego Garcia and other small islands. And Sri Lanka has never come forward, even a small approach to help them. I think government must reevaluate about its role to help others around the world.